Daniel lived alone on a small outpost planet called Valara 3. The planet was quiet, with green fields, blue rivers, and strange tall trees that whispered in the wind. The stars shone brightly every night, and Daniel often sat outside looking at them, wondering what was out there in the deep space. He was a researcher sent by the Earth Federation to study the planet's plants and animals. Life was peaceful but lonely. He had not seen another human face for many months. One evening, while Daniel was collecting samples near the edge of the forest, his scanner started beeping. A strange object was falling from the sky, leaving a bright trail behind it. The object crashed into the forest, not far from where he stood. A soft rumble shook the ground. Daniel grabbed his flashlight and ran toward the crash site. His heart was beating fast. He didn't know what he would find. Was it a meteor, a machine, or something else? As he reached the crash site, he saw smoke rising from a small silver pod. The pod's surface was smooth, almost like liquid metal. A soft humming sound came from inside. Suddenly, a small hatch opened with a hiss. Out of the pod stepped a figure, tall and slender, with pale blue-purple skin that softly reflected the moonlight. She had large, bright eyes, a small nose, and soft lips. Her ears were slightly pointed, almost elf-like. She wore a light teal suit that covered her body but allowed her to move freely. Daniel stood still, surprised. An alien, the alien woman looked at him with wide eyes. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The forest was silent, except for the soft hum of the pod behind her. Then, in a gentle voice, she spoke in perfect English. "Are you human?" Daniel blinked. "Yes, I'm Daniel. Who are you?" "I am Layari," she said with a small bow. "I come from the planet Zyrian. My ship was damaged while passing through your system. I had to make an emergency landing." Daniel saw that she was calm but tired. Her skin looked a bit dry, and her movements were slow. "You're hurt," Daniel said. "Come with me. My station is not far. You can rest and recover there." Larry hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Thank you, Daniel. I accept your help." They walked together back to his station. The path was quiet, and Layari kept looking around, observing the trees, the ground, and the stars above. She seemed curious about everything inside the station. Daniel gave her water and some food. She studied the food carefully before eating, but after the first bite she smiled. "Your food is simple, but pleasant." Daniel smiled. "I hope it helps you feel better." As the evening passed, Larry asked many questions. She wanted to know about human life, how people live, how families are made, and how emotions work. "My people do not experience emotions like humans," she explained. "We have logic and reason, but not the strong feelings you describe." Daniel found her curiosity interesting. "Emotions are a big part of being human. Love, friendship, fear, happiness, they guide many of our choices." Layari nodded slowly. "This is what I wish to learn. To understand your kind fully, I must experience what it means to feel." Her words surprised Daniel. Most aliens he had read about studied humans from a distance. Layari seemed different. She wanted to truly know what it meant to be human, not just by watching but by living it. That night, as Layari rested in one of the spare rooms, Daniel sat by the window, thinking. This meeting was unexpected. He didn't know why Layari's ship had failed, or if others were looking for her. But one thing was clear, his life was about to change in ways he could not imagine far outside. The stars continued to shine, and in that quiet moment, Daniel felt something new growing, a strange sense of connection with his alien guest. The morning sun rose over Valara 3, filling Daniel's small station with soft golden light. Birds with colorful wings sang strange melodies outside. Daniel had already prepared breakfast when Layari entered the room. She looked rested, her skin color brighter than last night. "Good morning," Daniel greeted her with a smile. Layari tilted her head slightly. "Morning." "Your planet's rotation is different from mine, but I adjusted during the night." Daniel handed her a plate of simple pancakes and fruit. She examined the food again before taking small bites. "This is sweet pleasant." As they ate, Layari continued to observe her surroundings with great curiosity. She seemed fascinated by the small details, the way the light reflected on the metal surfaces, the soft buzzing of the cooling system, even the taste of the fruit. When they finished eating, Liari placed her hands on the table and looked at Daniel with serious eyes. Daniel, I wish to continue my study of human life. May I ask you more questions? Of course, Daniel replied, happy to help. Her first question surprised him. How do humans create life? Daniel paused for a moment, trying to find simple words. Well, it begins when a man and a woman come together. Their bodies share special cells. These cells combine, and if everything goes right, a baby starts to grow inside the woman's body. Larry listened carefully, nodding slowly as she tried to understand. This is similar but also very different from my people. We create life through controlled cell merging in laboratories. Emotional bonding is not required. Daniel smiled gently. For humans, reproduction is not only about creating life. It is also about love, trust, and emotional connection. People form families because of strong feelings. Liari's eyes widened a bit. Emotions? I wish to understand this more. My people have never needed strong emotions to reproduce or form partnerships. Daniel leaned back in his chair. Emotions are at the heart of almost everything we do. Love brings people together. Parents care for their children with love. Friends support each other because of it. Without emotions, life would feel empty for us. Liari looked thoughtful. She seemed to be processing every word carefully. Your emotions appear powerful, Daniel. My kind has always avoided them, thinking they are dangerous or distracting. Daniel nodded. They can be dangerous if not controlled, but they also give meaning to life. Happiness, sadness, fear, love, all of these help us grow, learn, and connect. She leaned forward slightly. I'm curious, Daniel. Is it possible for someone like me to experience your kind of emotions? Daniel looked at her softly. I believe it is possible. You are already feeling curiosity, which is a form of emotion. With time, you might feel others too. Liari looked down for a moment, as if lost in thought. Then she softly said, May I ask a personal question, Daniel? Go ahead, he replied. She took a breath. If human reproduction is deeply tied to emotions, how do two people decide to share this connection? Daniel smiled, understanding her question. They build trust, care for each other, and grow close emotionally. Only when both feel ready and safe, they take that step together. Liari nodded. So it is not simply a physical process, but a deep bond. Exactly, Daniel agreed. For the next few days, Liari stayed at the station. Daniel showed her human movies, music, and books. She learned about friendship, love stories, family bonds, and even sadness. Each new story filled her with more questions. Sometimes she would sit silently, eyes closed, trying to feel emotions that were once foreign to her. She began smiling more, laughing at simple jokes, and showing concern when Daniel seemed tired. One evening, as they sat under the stars, Liari turned to Daniel and spoke softly. Daniel, I believe I am starting to feel something. Daniel looked at her with gentle eyes. What do you feel, Liari? She paused, searching for words. Warmth when you are near, peace when we speak. Worry when you leave the room. I think these might be emotions. Daniel smiled warmly. Yes, Liari, those are emotions. You are starting to experience them, she nodded slowly. It is both strange and beautiful. There was a moment of silence between them. The stars above sparkled like tiny diamonds. The soft wind moved through the trees, creating a calming rhythm. Then Liari spoke again, her voice even softer. Daniel, I wish to understand more. I want to experience human bonding. Completely. Will you guide me when I am ready? Daniel was surprised by her words, but saw the honesty in her eyes. She was not speaking from cold curiosity, but from a new place, one touched by growing emotions. He nodded gently. When the time comes, Liari, I will be here. Liari smiled, and for the first time, her eyes shimmered slightly, as if holding back emotions she could not fully describe yet. Far above them, the stars continued their silent watch as two different worlds slowly moved closer together. Days passed on Valara 3, and Daniel and Larry grew closer. The alien woman learned quickly about human emotions and ways of showing care. She smiled more often and even laughed softly at Daniel's jokes. For the first time, she felt warmth in her chest, something new and strange. Daniel noticed the change too. Every morning, Liari asked more about human feelings, about love, trust, and friendship. She wanted to know how people shared their hearts. Not just their lives. One afternoon, while they sat beside a small lake, Liari looked at Daniel with serious eyes. "Daniel," she said slowly, "I have been thinking about what you said, about emotional bonding. I want to understand it fully, not only with words but by feeling it myself." Daniel's heart skipped a beat. He understood what she meant. "You mean you want to experience human reproduction?" he said gently. Liari nodded. "Not only the physical part, but the deep connection that humans share. I want to feel the emotions you have described." Daniel looked down, thinking it was a big step. Human reproduction was not just a biological act. It was a bond of trust. Love and respect. It required more than curiosity. It needed real feelings. "Are you sure, Larry?" Daniel asked softly. "It's not something to take lightly." "I am sure," she answered firmly. "I want to understand humans completely. If I am to live among you, I must know what it means to bond like you do." Daniel reached out and took her hand. "Then we will prepare. We will take it slowly. It is important that you feel safe and ready." Liari squeezed his hand. "Thank you, Daniel. Your kindness means more than words." The next few days were full of careful talks. Daniel explained every part of human bonding, how emotions grow before the physical connection. They discussed trust, respect, and how important it was to care deeply for one another. Liari listened carefully, asking questions. She wanted to learn. Everything, the nervousness before the first touch, the joy of holding hands, the power of a gentle kiss. She was eager to feel these moments, even if they were foreign to her. Daniel helped her practice small gestures, a soft touch on the arm, a kind smile, looking into each other's eyes with trust. At first, Liari felt awkward, but slowly she started to understand. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, Daniel and Liari sat quietly by the fire. The warm orange light danced on their faces. Liari spoke softly. "Daniel, I feel something inside. It is warmth, like the feeling I get when I see you smile." "That's the beginning of love," Daniel said gently. Liari looked at him with shining eyes. "It is strange and wonderful. I never thought I could feel this." Daniel smiled and took her hand. "You are learning what it means to be human." Over time, Liari's feelings grew deeper. She began to worry when Daniel was away, missed his voice, and felt joy when he returned. She realized that what she felt was love, a strong, beautiful emotion. Daniel also felt something new. He admired Liari's courage to open her heart, her gentle spirit, and her willingness to learn. He began to see her not only as a guest, but as someone very special. One night, under the stars, Liari turned to Daniel and said, "I am ready." Daniel's eyes met hers. Ready for what? To take the next step. To share the human bond fully with trust, care, and love. Daniel nodded. "We will take it slow, and I will be with you every step." They spent the night talking, sharing their hopes and fears. They understood that this was not just a moment of science or curiosity, but the start of something real and deep. As the stars shone brightly, two hearts, human and alien, prepared to connect in a way that would change their lives forever. The night was calm and clear. The stars shone like bright diamonds over Valara 3. Inside Daniel's small station, soft light filled the room. Daniel and Larry sat close to each other, the quiet hum of machines around them. Daniel looked at Larry gently. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Larry nodded, her eyes steady and calm. "Yes, Daniel, I want to feel what it means to be human, to share the bond you spoke of." Daniel reached for her hand and held it softly. "We will take it slow. I promise to respect you and your feelings. If at any time you feel uncomfortable, just tell me." Larry smiled faintly. "Thank you. Your kindness gives me courage." They began with small touches. Daniel showed her how humans start with gentle skin contact, holding hands, soft touches. On the arm, warm hugs. Larry's skin was cool, but when their hands touched, a new warmth grew inside her. She looked at Daniel, surprised by the feeling. "This warmth. It is different from anything I have felt before." It is part of connection, Daniel explained. Human touch carries meaning. It builds trust and closeness. Larry nodded, trying to hold back a smile. After a while, Daniel leaned in slowly and kissed her hand. Larry's eyes widened, but she did not pull away. Instead, a soft blush spread over her cheeks. "It is gentle," she whispered. Daniel smiled softly. That is the beginning of deeper connection. They spent time learning each other's ways, slowly moving closer, sharing smiles, soft words, and gentle touches. Larry's nervousness faded, replaced by trust and growing affection. Later, Daniel explained the next step, the kiss. He told Layari it was a way humans show love and desire. He asked if she was ready to try. Layari thought for a moment, then nodded. Daniel leaned forward carefully and kissed her lips lightly. Larry felt a flutter in her chest, a mix of surprise and joy. The kiss was soft, respectful, full of care. When they pulled apart, Layari's eyes shone with new understanding. "It is beautiful," she said. Daniel smiled warmly. "It is how humans share feelings." The night passed slowly as they talked, laughed, and shared stories. Layari's fear was gone. She felt a deep peace she had never known before. Days went by and their bond grew stronger. They learned about each other's worlds, dreams, and hopes. Larry began to feel the full power of human emotions, love, care, happiness, and even the fear of loss. One evening, as they watched the stars, Layari said quietly, "Daniel, I want to thank you. You have shown me the meaning of connection. My heart feels full." Daniel took her hand gently. "I am glad, Layari. You are special to me." She smiled, a soft glow in her eyes. "You are special to me too." The moment felt perfect. Two different worlds coming together through trust and love, Layari whispered. "When I return to my people, I will tell them about the power of human emotions. Maybe they will understand us better." Daniel nodded. "Maybe humans have much to teach and much to learn." They sat quietly, hands touching, hearts connected. The future was unknown, but for now, they had found something rare: understanding and love. The days grew warmer on Valara 3, and with them, Layari's understanding of human life deepened. She no longer saw humans as strangers, but as beings full of complex feelings and beautiful connections. Her time with Daniel was changing her from within. One morning, Larry sat in the garden outside the station, watching the soft dance of leaves in the breeze. Daniel joined her, carrying 2 cups of tea. "Here," he said, handing her a warm cup. Layari smiled. "Thank you, Daniel. I have much to think about." Daniel sat beside her. "What do you feel now, Larry?" She looked at him thoughtfully. "I feel different. I see that human reproduction is not just about making life. It is about love, trust, and the bond two people share. It is a part of who you are." Daniel nodded. "It is more than biology. It is a connection that lasts a lifetime for many people." Layari took a deep breath. "I want to bring this understanding back to my people. Maybe they can learn from humans." Daniel looked surprised. "Your people have never shown much emotion, right?" Larry shook her head slowly. "No, Daniel. We have always been logical, careful, and distant. Emotions were seen as weaknesses, but now I see they can be strengths." Daniel smiled. "They can be. Emotions give life meaning." Layari smiled back. "You have taught me much, Daniel. More than I expected." That evening, Layari sat before a glowing communication panel, sending a message to her home planet Zarian. Her report told of the strange, beautiful world of humans, how they felt love deeply, how they cared for each other, and how their reproduction was tied to these emotions. She hoped her people would listen. She hoped they would open their hearts, but she knew there could be problems. Her people were cautious. They feared change. Days later, a message arrived. Larry's commanding council had summoned her. They were concerned about her new feelings and the time she spent with Daniel. She read the message with a heavy heart. The council did not trust emotional bonding. They believed it could lead to chaos and weakness. Daniel saw the worry in her eyes. "What will you do?" Layari took a deep breath. "I must go to them and explain. I must tell them what I have learned. I cannot ignore this part of myself." Daniel reached for her hand. I will support you, Lari, whatever happens. The day came when Liari traveled to the Zyrian embassy on Valara 3. The council waited. Stern and cold, they questioned her carefully. Why had she spent so much time with a human? Why had she allowed herself to feel emotions? Liari stood tall. I have learned that emotions are not weaknesses. They are strengths. They bring connection, love, and growth. Human reproduction is not only physical but emotional. It teaches us to care deeply. The council murmured among themselves, divided. Some were angry. Others curious. Daniel watched quietly from the side. Proud of Liari's courage, after hours of debate, the council made a decision. Larry would be allowed to continue her studies, but under close watch. Her people were not ready to fully accept emotions, but would observe carefully. Liari smiled softly. Thank you for listening. As she returned to Daniel, she felt lighter. The path ahead was still hard, but she knew she was not alone. Daniel embraced her gently. Together we will face whatever comes. Liari looked up at him, hope shining in her eyes. Together. The halls of the Zyrian embassy on Valara 3 were cold and quiet. The walls were smooth and gray, and soft lights glowed overhead. Liari walked carefully, her steps echoing in the large room. Today was important. She was going to meet the council again. Daniel stayed behind, hoping for good news but prepared for anything. He knew Liari's people were not ready to accept her new feelings easily. When Liari entered the chamber, the council members sat in a semicircle, their faces serious. Some had sharp eyes. Others seemed distant. The leader, a tall alien with silver hair and sharp ears, spoke first. Liari, you have returned. We have studied your report. Your time with the human Daniel has changed you. Liari nodded calmly. Yes, it has. I have learned that emotions are powerful. They help humans form strong bonds and care deeply for each other. A council member raised a hand, but emotions bring risk. They cause conflict, pain, and weakness. How do you know they will help your people? Larry took a deep breath. I understand the risks, but I also see the benefits. Love and trust bring strength. They help people support one another, face danger, and grow. I believe my people can. Learn from humans, the council whispered among themselves. Some looked doubtful. Others thoughtful. The leader asked, What do you ask of us? Larry's voice was steady. I ask permission to continue my study with Daniel, to learn more about emotions and bonding. I want to help my people grow and evolve. Another council member frowned. You risk your honor and duty to your people. Liari looked each member in the eye. I serve my people by seeking knowledge. I believe emotions are part of that knowledge. After long silence, the leader spoke again. We will allow you to continue, but only with strict oversight. Your actions must not endanger our society. Liari bowed her head respectfully. Thank you. The meeting ended, but the weight of the council's watch remained. Liari knew her journey was just beginning. Back at the station, Daniel greeted her with a warm smile. How did it go? Liari sighed softly. They are cautious but willing to listen. I must be careful, but I can continue. Daniel took her hand gently. We will face this together. Days turned to weeks. Liari and Daniel worked side by side, exploring human emotions, bonding, and reproduction. They wrote reports, created models, and shared stories. Liari's people began to send observers to watch their progress. Some were skeptical, others curious, but slowly change started. Liari taught them small lessons about trust and care. She showed how emotions could build strong communities. Her words reached hearts that logic alone could not touch. Daniel watched in awe as Liari's people began to soften. Walls of cold logic gave way to sparks of feeling. One evening, Liari looked at Daniel with hope. I believe my people will change, Daniel smiled, and we will help them. Their bond grew stronger, a bridge between two worlds. Under the vast stars, Daniel and Liari dreamed of a future where humans and Zyrians lived in harmony, united by emotion and understanding. The soft light of dawn spread over Valara 3, painting the sky with pink and gold. Daniel and Larry stood outside the station, looking up at the endless stars. The quiet hum of the planet surrounded them, peaceful and full of promise. Their journey had been long and full of challenges. Larry had faced the doubts of her people and the fears inside herself. Daniel had learned patience and the strength that comes from opening one's heart. Now, they stood together, ready to take the next step. Larry turned to Daniel, her eyes bright with hope. Our worlds are different, but I believe we can unite them through understanding. Daniel smiled. I believe that too. We have already built a bridge between us. They held hands, feeling the warmth and trust that had grown between them. Back inside the station, they prepared a report to send to both Earth and Xyrian. It told the story of their journey, of how emotions brought them together and could bring their peoples closer. Liari hoped the message would inspire change. She dreamed of a future where humans and Xyrians could share knowledge, love, and life. Days later, the response came. Earth welcomed Liari with open arms, eager to learn from her experiences. Scientists and diplomats praised her courage and the bond she had formed with Daniel on Xyrian. The council had changed too. They no longer saw emotions as weakness, but as a new path for their people. Slowly, they began to teach and explore feelings. Liari smiled softly. Her courage had helped open a new door. Daniel and Liari spent their days working together, sharing stories, learning from each other, and building a new life. They walked beneath the stars, hand in hand, feeling the quiet power of love and friendship. Liari whispered, "This is only the beginning." Daniel nodded. "Together we will face whatever comes." The stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if celebrating their new bond. Two worlds, once so different, now connected by heart and hope. The future was wide open, full of endless possibilities. And in the quiet light of dawn, Daniel and Liari stepped forward, united, strong, and ready for all that lay ahead.